Hello and welcome to Matterley Basin for round 16 of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship with me, Paul Malin. I'll be joined during the broadcast by Stephen Sword, a former Grand Prix racer. But there's a good atmosphere out here in the south of the country. It was a little bit wet earlier on, but track conditions just about coming perfect now. So Matterley Basin then in the south of England for round 16 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, where Tony Cairoli is looking to pick up his 5th consecutive MX1 World Championship title, his 7th in total. Last time out in Belgium, Romain de Sal was victorious in his home race and denied the Sicilian the opportunity to take the title, but with 100 points up for grabs, 50 here and 50 at the final round in 2 weeks' time at Lierop, and with a 90-point advantage, Cairoli can afford to finish 11th in race 1 if de Sal wins it. However, Cairoli was a double race winner here 12 months ago, and this is one of his favourite circuits, so don't expect him to ride around at the canter today. Quick view of the circuit, just under 1,600 metres long, a change to the way we come out of turn 2. Of course, now you get to the end of the grey zone, head straight back down the hill and over the finish line as well, continue straight on down past pit lane. We're going down to Amy.
Welcome to our new MXGP game show, What's in Your Bike, where we see if riders can actually tell what's between their legs. Our first contestant is Maxim Display, Monster Energy Yamaha rider. Your first part is...
Nice. Yeah, I think it's a camshaft.
Now for part number 2, it might be a little bit trickier.
Yeah, it's a piston, I think. Yeah.
I need you to build this valve assembly in the right order.
No.
Last week in Belgium, you took a massive leap in terms of results.
Yeah, it was just crazy. I took the whole shot and I tried to do no mistake and to ride smooth and ride like I know, just no mistake. And if Jeffrey was here, it was more difficult, but yeah, he was not here and I was first, so yeah, it was crazy.
Dean first, do you think you're up for the challenge?
Give it a go.
All right, let's see the first part.
Yeah, that's a Conrod.
So you've got one right. Let's see if you know what this is.
And here we have a camshaft.
And now for the building task. Good job. Dean, you looked way more relaxed than I expected when you took the GP win last weekend. Has it sunk in now?
Yeah, it's sunk in now. It did take a couple of days, maybe until I actually went back and watched the race and you know, realised what I'd done. But I've had a lot of you know, a lot of positive messages from family and friends and everything, so it's pretty hard to avoid it as well. But no, it's sunk in now.
When you decided to make the move over to Europe, what were the deciding factors?
You know, I set some goals when I was a bit younger, and to come to Europe and chase a world championship was one of them. And anything I had to do, I was willing to do it. You know, but I'm also an independent kind of guy, and I knew I could pull it off. It was tough, and now this year I have my girlfriend coming back and forwards, which is more nice than being on my own. So the deciding factor would be that I just want it.
Mel, I've heard you're not too hot on your engine components, so this could be interesting, but here is your first part.
a conrod.
The part number 2.
That's a camshaft.
Final one, it's a building task. You have to get them in the right order. Are you ready? Okay. And it's timed. Were you perhaps expecting a little more after the success of last year?
Yeah, last year I had a really good year and was more of a confidence building thing with me. I've shown that I can run up in the top 6 and also score points there, so it's not that I can't do it or I don't have the speed. I have more than enough speed to stay with the front boys, maybe not Hurlin's, but behind that it's almost anyone's game by the way I look at it.
You live with Tommy. You're kind of both in similar positions in the fact that you're coming from last year being at the top of your game to almost having to find your feet this year in another new class.
He had a nice fun year last year on the podium and winning and fighting for a championship, and I had the same. So yeah, I would say the morale in the house last year was a lot more fun and everyone was winning and having a good time, but this year it's a lot more harder, and we both had to up our games when we're training and when we're riding.
One of the most impressive moments of last year's first MXGP festival was the Riders Parade. This year it's an even bigger occasion with all 524 riders about to take to the track, led on by Jamie Dobb. Take a look at this.
Yeah, well, first thing this morning around about 9:15, the riders assembled at the end of the start straight and first turn, and it was a little bit wetter than it was 12 months ago when we had glorious weather, and but the result was still the same. Tony Cairoli rubbing shoulders with the stars of the future alongside him on 65s. Of course, our youth stream president, Giuseppe Luongo. Just getting ready to lead the guys off. Alongside him, Dave Nicol, the FIM race director. As you can imagine, some of the guys decided to stay inside with the weather. Some of the guys just come off the track from warm-up as well. Some guys were getting ready for their first race, such was the early part of the day. But it was a good atmosphere, a great occasion out on the track. There was a lot of noise. Stephen Sword, the former Grand Prix racer, joins me now. Stephen, I know you weren't here for when the parade went. You were on your way down, but you know, the actual parade itself is a nice way to start the weekend, isn't it? Okay, we could have done with a little bit better weather, but the idea is nice.
Oh, I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, you don't really see this anywhere. You're right, I was on my way down and it was pouring down with rain on the M4, and I'm thinking, oh, we could be in for a typical wet English Grand Prix. But great to see, and obviously I'm in with you now. I watched the first MX2 race, and that was fantastic as well.
Well, this Sally qualified in MX1 yesterday. Tony Cairoli victorious, led every single one of the 12 laps. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek got himself into second after passing Sebastian Porcel on the Ice One Racing KTM, who eventually dropped to 6, and it was Commander Sal on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki who was third ahead of his teammate Kevin Strybos, Ken de Dijk, Sebastian Porcel, as we've already said. Up and down race for Gauthier Paulin in 7th, and David Philipparts likewise in 8th. Nick Oban, the build-based Honda rider who Stephen Saw was part of the same team earlier on this year, and Sean Simpson on the JK SKS Geben Yamaha, of course, the third rider announced on the Motocross Nations team for Team GB. Then the rest of the guys you saw, Tommy Searle, though, crashed at the first turn, got his way up to 12th, made a couple of mistakes in the closing stages, got himself back to 13th, so might take the pressure off him a little bit. Stephen Sword, you've obviously won a Grand Prix in the past, and you've rode your fair share of British Grand Prix as well. What's the occasion like? What's Tommy Searle about to expect here?
I mean, Tommy's he's an expert at this now. He's had many of British Grand Prix and done well, and won last year. So he knows what to expect. It's going to be tougher this year. Obviously, he's in MX1 class. But like I sent Jake Nichols a message this morning on the phone just to say, you know, you're going to make every one of these British Grand Prix count, because, you know, you got to do your best and fight for your country.
Well, the gate about to drop here, MX1 Race 1, a 7th world title on the line for Antonio Cairoli, who starts in the middle of the box. He sweeps around the outside. He's got the Sal at the inside of it. Oh! Is that Van Hoorbeek goes down big time? Van Hoorbeek just got tagged going into that first turn. He picks himself up. The front plate is hanging off that factory Kawasaki. Just needs to get it started. I'm not sure if he's bent the front brake in there as well, but it looks like the Sal may have found a way through into the lead. He has. So Tony Cairoli, there's a little bit of work gone on in that top corner, turn 4. So DeSalle leads the way on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki. Tony Cairoli second, Kevin Strybos third, Bobryshev on the right-hand side just about to climb into fourth place. He didn't finish the qualifying race yesterday. He got tagged going into the first corner and damaged the caliper on the front brake and wasn't able to finish the race. But as they come down over the first split point, we've got a yellow flag waving in the background there, but it's DeSalle, Cairoli, Strybos, Bobryshev, Mark Deruva getting a fifth out of the start as a wildcard rider. Ludwig Soderberg, Sebastian Pourcel, Joe Roulant, Sean Simpson, Mattis Caro, STR KTM, Kenda Dyker, Alex Snow, British wildcard. Tommy Searle in 13th, ahead of David Philipparts, Jonathan Berrigan, Tenno Leoc, Scott Elderfield, Tony Craig, Milko Podolzek, and Gauthier Paulin. So a disastrous start for both the Kawasaki riders. But Stephen Sword, not sure if you know of the implications here. Tony Cairoli doesn't have to win the race to be world champion, because if DeSalle wins, Cairoli can afford himself an 11th. But going for a world title, if you're going to win it in moto number one, and knowing Cairoli as we do, he's going to want to go and pick up 25 points, isn't he?
I think so. I think, as you know, there's a long time to go at the moment. He's going to maybe let DeSalle just have the lead for a bit or follow him. But I think he said already in his interviews that he's not going to risk everything just to win the race. So we may see him just settle for second in this one, but then go for the win and to get the overall.
Decent crowd here out in the banking at Matsley Basin. We obviously, from a British point of view, Tommy Searle would love to do well here in this MX1 Grand Prix, where he won in MX2 last year. As the leaders come over the finish line jump, they're separated by 3/4 of a second. DeSalle, Cairoli, Strybos about another. Whoa, Bobryshev just getting a kick there as he hits that Dragon's back section. Tony Cairoli's got just tear-offs. So the track drying out, he feels enough to only go out with laminates as opposed to roll-offs. Conditions a little bit heavier a little earlier on in the day, but Kevin Strybos backing up his teammate here as we watch coming into the first turn. Tony Cairoli, look, down behind the handlebars, and alongside him, Strybos getting nudged into Van Hoorbeek, who was squeezed between him and David Philipparts as we look on board with Cairoli. Good jump from DeSalle. Came right out of there and just swept into the inside, but who was it that got to get the thing the whole shot? Look at that, ricochet. Was it DeSalle or was it Cairoli? It was DeSalle. Back down on the bottom end of the circuit then with our race leader, the Rockstar Energy Suzuki of number 25, Clement DeSalle, followed by the Red Bull KTM of Tony Cairoli. The Honda World Motocross is in fourth of Evgeny Bobryshev behind Kevin Strybos, with Mark Deruva and Sebastian Pourcel on the Ice One Racing KTM. Just behind them, Sean Simpson is in 7th place on the JK SKS Geben Yamaha, as we look at Kenda Dyker following number 100, Tommy Searle through, and Searle now up into 9th place. Dyker's found a way past Ludwig Soderberg here, and number 388. So Ludwig Soderberg on the Ice One Racing KTM this weekend, and was that Deruva making a mistake? So Deruva out of 5th place. Makes it a little bit easier for Tommy Searle. That's one less rider that he's got to overtake. And already going around the outside, he gets a bit of bar banging action going on with Joel Roulant, and that might pave the way for Dyker to go through, but Dyker not able to get over the tabletop. Tommy Searle looking all patriotic. Stephen Sword, you know what Tommy Searle's going through here?
He is. I see where he was on the start. He was probably mid-pack, but he's making his way through. When you're buried in the mid-pack, the goggles and that, he's probably done a few tear-offs already. So I would expect him to come on strong, and I think Tommy can get himself up into the top 5 here.
He's had an okay season so far, hasn't he? In terms of the World Championship, Tommy Searle, he's been hovering around the top 5, top 6 position all season long, but he could really do with getting a decent result here, or certainly in Lierop in a couple of weekends' time. Locked together with Joel Roulant and the number 9 of Kenda Dyker. And Dyker goes to the inside and splits the two guys and goes through. So Tommy Searle just losing out in that little exchange there a moment ago. And Tommy Searle looking to go around the outside of Roulant and go back after the number 9 of Kenda Dyker, who won't make it easy for him. But going back to Tommy Searle in terms of overalls, there's a little bit of brake checking action going on at the top of the hill. Tommy Searle twice, 3 times been on the podium in terms of off the podium 4th. 3 times he has been in Thailand, in France, and also in Germany. Would love to get on the podium here, but he's got a lot of work to do at the moment. He's in 7th position in the early stages of this first MX1 race. Sebastian Pourcel just getting pushed wide there as Simpson goes through into 5th now. So riding like a man possessed. He's obviously just been announced as an MX Nations team member. Sean Simpson, coming from a fellow Scot, still going to be feeling proud, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I mean, Sean, yeah, I've raced with Sean for many years. Obviously, he's a lot younger than me. That's great news that he's in the Motocross Nation squad again. And I think he's always been there or thereabouts this year, but it seems to me as though he's just picked it up a little bit towards the end of this season, which I think's consolidated that Motocross Nation spot for him.
De Dijker just finding a way past Sebastian Pourcel and leaving Tommy Searle behind, is it? Looks like it to be the case. Coming out of the final turn, here's Simpson over the finish line now. He goes through in 5th place. De Dijker, the fastest man on track, at 1:59.628. De Searle still leads the way though, but Tommy Searle struggling to find a way past Sebastian Pourcel. He'd love to follow De Dijker and Simpson through and go after Evgeny Bobryshev, but Tommy Searle already quite a ways down on Evgeny Bobryshev as it stands at the moment. So he has got a lot of work to do as Sebastian Pourcel comes in on the Ice One Racing KTM, maybe changing goggles, maybe even gone out with a few roll-offs on instead, but or a set of roll-offs instead, maybe, who knows. But that's the gap between Clement Desalle and Tony Cairoli. In terms of Clement Desalle, well, he's won the last 2 Grand Prix overall, the Czech Republic and his home race in Belgium a week ago. But Tony Cairoli doesn't need to win the race to be crowned world champion for the 7th time. So I just wonder how much he's just hanging back at the moment and just thinking, see what happens in another 10 or 15 minutes or so, let the track come to me, let myself settle down. It's probably what's going through his mind, wouldn't you think, Stephen Sword?
I would think so, and I know it looks like Clement's pulled away a little bit, but I think Tony's probably just sat back not to get any roost in his goggles. Look at his lines. Strybos is also going well. He goes well on these rutty, bumpy tracks. So he's going to be following the back of Tony as well, I think.
Well, just starting to get a bit more confidence, Clement Desalle. He's obviously 2nd in the championship, but not being off the podium in terms of moto finishes since Brazil, apart from a DNF in Italy in the 2nd moto. Either that, he's been 1st or 2nd every time since, which is same kind of consistency really as Tony Cairoli. In fact, a little bit more consistent than the champion. Tony Cairoli just having a few more race wins along the way. But the track conditions here, we had Jeff Perrott in earlier, Stephen Sword, and he saying, and we're both in agreement that when the track was first built, De Dijker around the outside of Simpson. Dropping down, that's coming out of turn 6, dropping downhill. Yeah, easy pass in the end for the Red Bull KTM rider. And then did he go down? No, just legs his way around. They're long enough. Just about got him out of trouble. Simpson having a little stab up the inside, looking to respond immediately, but De Dijker goes through and takes 5th place as Desalle sets the fastest lap of the race. Circuit conditions here, harder and more slicker than we've used to being seeing over the last few years, but when it was first built in 2006, it was pretty soft, wasn't it, the ground here? Did you ride on that occasion?
Unfortunately not. I've never raced here.
Have you not?
No, I've always been injured. 2006 was obviously the Grand Prix and the Motocross Nations. That's when I had my bad injury on my ankle. So that was a no-go for me. And I've been injured well, not ever since, but every time they've been here, I've been in recovery.
But a little bit slicker underfoot, and probably the most technical it's been in all the years that we've been here due to the rain and the ruts. Tommy Searle on the charge, got just under 26 minutes plus 2 to go. Ranning the turn just behind his teammate for the upcoming FIA Monster Energy Motocross of Nations in Germany at the end of September. But Tommy Searle, the 100 CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider, didn't make things easy for him when he crashed at the first turn in the qualifying race yesterday. Another poor start today. Looking to go around the outside of Sean Simpson here though. The JK SKS Gavin Yamaha rider there, number 24. Shouldn't think there'll be too much bar banging going on between these two. They'll be teammates in a few weeks' time. But it made it very difficult for Gauthier Paulin a week ago in Belgium, didn't he, Sean Simpson, in the 2nd moto? Not sure if you saw that race last week.
No, I did. Like I said, Sean's he's picking it up a bit, and he's always been there and thereabouts, and he's got a lot of experience, so he's not going to just let anyone pass him. He wants to make his point, and I'm not sure what contracts he's got for next year, but all these guys, as you know, they'll be trying to you know, get their deals they want for next season.
Yeah, and obviously there are a lot of guys, good guys as well, without rides. Sean Simpson, I think, being one of those at the moment. Jake Nichols, who's moving up to MX1 from MX2, doesn't have a ride that we know of at the moment either. And that's a guy that's just finished second in Moto number 1 in MX2 race 1. So, you know, it's not a foregone conclusion. That was a big jump yesterday, wasn't that triple downhill? See how rutty and bumpy it is, hard and slick, deep ruts. Just there, just turning back tight on themselves. Here's Tony Cairoli. He's 1.9 seconds down. He sets his personal best, his fastest lap of the race. Not the fastest lap, and he's closed right on the rear wheel of the 25 Clement de Sal, up on the pegs. Looks like he's out for a Sunday afternoon ride. Such is the coolness of the six-time world champion, Stephen Sword.
Yeah, no, I mean, just from that body language, I think we can say that he's probably going to go for the win in this race. He's closed the gap a little bit. He looks relaxed. He's already 6 times world champion, so, you know, he's got the experience. He knows what he's got to do.
A week ago in Belgium, of course, Clement de Sal, he didn't want Tony Cairoli to win the Grand Prix, didn't want him to win the title on home soil. He said, I'll do anything I can to prevent that from happening. But coming here, that gap is still 90 points with 100 on the table. So, you know, it's not a foregone conclusion, but it makes the job very difficult for 25 Clement de Sal to you know, to put himself in the hot seat.
Yeah,
barring any major mistakes from Tony Cairoli.
Exactly. I mean, mathematically, it's not done yet, but you know, you can almost say it's going to happen. Which, you know, for Clement's put on a good show all year. He's had his few little DNFs, I think, like you said.
Yeah, a couple of eights. One in the Netherlands at Valkenswaard, one in the second moto as well in Arco de Trento.
Yeah.
Then he was on track, and it was that one DNF in Italy at Maggiore in the second moto that really sort of ruled him out of things.
I do enjoy watching him, though. There's a lot of riders I enjoy watching, and I think de Sal, for me, I really do enjoy. He gives it everything when he has to.
Well, he's doing a good job. He can't do any more than he's doing at the moment. Got a decent crowd here at Matterley Basin this weekend as well. It's such a vast area, isn't it, Stephen Sword? You know, you can stick you know, a very large amount of people in here, but because of the vast bowl that we're in, even when you look at the infrastructure with the campsites and where the trade areas are, it's just a big area to fill.
It is, and it can, you know, like you said, you can easily think that there's not a lot of people here, but, you know, it's filling up. The sun's coming out now for everyone, and the atmosphere, we can hear it here now. You can hear the air horns. It's good. It's really good.
Typical British Grand Prix atmosphere, air horns, like you say. Nice combination in the end to that wave section, though, for Tony Cairoli, but just starting to apply the pressure to Clement de Sal. These two guys don't want to make a mistake, of course. Both want to win the race. Tony Cairoli wants to win a 7th world title, and he wants to do it in winning form and winning fashion as well. But he's been the most consistent rider all year. He's only been off the podium once. That was the 5th at the Czech Republic a couple of rounds ago. Doesn't particularly like that circuit, though. So even though he's won there and won his 50th Grand Prix victory there last year, just didn't seem to perform there this year. But it's strange how tracks do that to people, isn't it? You know, I mean, I obviously had success at the British Grand Prix at Fox Hills, but in terms of the actual nature of the ground, it wasn't my favourite surface to ride on, but for some reason it worked for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, it's almost like, you know, like you said, the British Grand Prix for British riders, you kind of make things happen that, you know, you just have that bit of
kicking a bit of
drive. You know, you have the crowd behind you and you just make it happen. But yeah, I agree. There's tracks that I've done well at that really, yeah, they're not my favourite ones. So I know where you're coming from.
Mark Verpalen, the mechanic of Clement de Sal, just looking on. His rider just goes past pit lane. We saw him kicking the foot peg as he went over the finish line jump, and then Dragon's back as well. Obviously gone a little bit deep into the left-hander at the penultimate corner. Got a load of dirt, or in the right-hander, sorry. Just as he's got a load of dirt going through. Up on the foot peg, and obviously standing the foot peg just up a little bit more, and he stands the bike up as well, loses momentum. Cairoli tries to attack going up the hill. We've had 6 laps complete. Cairoli now sensing his opportunity, but just making a little bit of a mistake going around the outside, and his urgency to do so. Pulls another tear off, but just a matter of time, isn't it, Stephen Sword? You would think, just watching from here, another slight mistake there from Cairoli, though.
I think so. I mean, what I've noticed from Tony is he's taken completely different lines from Clement, so he's obviously looking at an option to pass somewhere and not following him to get that roost in his goggles. So 20 minutes to go plus 2, it's all there to play for yet.
Well, further behind, we've got just in the background there, the 22, Kevin Strybos, the Rockstar Energy teammate for Clement de Sal, just riding shotgun if he needs to, but not much he can do from there, unfortunately. But Evgeny Bobashev having another good ride in fourth, and Cairoli just having a look, see exactly where Strybos is.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's come on again this year. He's been on the back of these guys for the last good few GPs. He's a good rider, like I said, in the rutty tracks. Really experienced. Won GPs, went for world titles. So these guys are
upper body strength there.
Top class riders.
Just a good example of how you use your upper body in motocross as well. That slow-mo there of Tony Cairoli going through, he was up on the pegs, happy to sit there like that, and then just lost the front going in, using that upper body just to hold him over the front, just dropped a leg, legged his way around there, and barely lost any time.
No, he didn't, and that's what Tony's doing a lot. He's standing up a lot, standing up in the ruts, not really putting his feet down unless he really needs to. And I think on a track like this today, bumpy, rutty, it just eliminates you, getting out of shape and twisting a knee or something. So his technique is perfect.
You see how rutty it is at the top end of that circuit, though, can't you? They've even tried to get a machine in there in between one of the races after 125, or maybe even after 250, I think it was. But Clement de Sal continues to lead. We've had 7 laps complete. He's 1.2 seconds, or that's the gap visually on screen, ahead of Tony Cairoli, who's gunning for his 7th world title. Got a lot of fans in Britain and all over the world as the Sicilian. Kevin Strybos is 3rd, Evgeny Bobashev 4th, Kenda Dijker is 5th, Tommy Searle up into 6th place, having found a way past Sean Simpson and setting his own personal best lap of the race, but he's 28 seconds behind these guys, 6 seconds behind Dijker, and a fair way off of Bobashev as well. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek is up to 13th place on screen. And Gauthier Paulin as well, up into 9th, ahead of Joel Roulant. So Matis Caro, STR KTM, finds himself in 12th. The Sean Simpson coming under attack from the Garibaldi Honda. David Philippart, who runs alongside him on the step up into the left-hander, turn 7 at the top of the hill. He has to go wide. Will he triple down? Yes, he will. Keeps that Honda just ahead of Simpson. And then triple singles his way up over the quad into the right-hander. The ground starting to dry out. The bump's getting a little bit harder. What was your experiences of riding British Grand Prix, Stephen? Which ones did you ride? Which ones did you enjoy the most?
I mean, my one was the other one at the Isle of Wight. That was fantastic for me. The crowd was amazing.
Was that 03 or 04?
That was 04. When I was having good battles with Townley and Cairoli as well. Rattray. Got the whole shot in both races, and ended up with 2/3, but I gave it my all. The crowd were fantastic. The weather was great. The track was superb, and I think to get on the podium for a British rider at the British Grand Prix is one of them boxes you'd like to tick before you stop racing.
Yeah. Of course, you did win a Grand Prix as well.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that one?
Yeah. That was the same year, 04.
Portugal. You won a race?
Won a race in Portugal. It all happened pretty quickly. First podium, first race win, first GP win, all happened within the first 6 Grand Prix. So it was a good year for me, and then I had a couple of DNFs, small injury, and ended the year in 4th overall. But it was nice to be up there and battling for a championship, and had some great rides with Townley and Cairoli as well.
Well, these two guys are battling here. Clement de Sal trying to save all the options he can in terms of trying to keep that World Championship down to the final round in Lierop in 2 weeks' time, but not happening at the moment because Cairoli in World Championship winning position. 2nd position would be enough for him to take title number 7 in Moto number 1. But number 25, Clement de Sal, is making Cairoli work extremely hard for it. We've got 15 minutes to go, and the atmosphere is starting to build here at Matterley Basin. For the first time today, the sun is out at Matterley Basin, making conditions a little bit more difficult for the riders because at different places the sun will be in their eyes, but also the nature of the ground here, quite light, disguises some of the holes and the bumps out on track. And Stephen Sword, who joins me, will probably be able to vouch for that as we look at different parts of the racetrack. But Cairoli sensing an opportunity on lap 9 here, triples his way up into the penultimate corner, looks to square off underneath the Belgian, and then do the same again in the final turn, but just asking a little bit too much of that 350 KTM as they come over the line to complete lap 9. Nicely scrubbed over the Monster Energy finish line jump and over the Dragon's back. Cairoli just bouncing a little bit short. as he attempts to go double quad. And De South still where he needs to be. Larry Lettler, the Sarkar Racing KTM rider, just having to move out of the way. Tony Cairoli, nice line here and looking to go up the inside, but two lines fall into one. Stephen Saw, this is becoming a little bit, I didn't quite get over the step down. I thought they were going to land on each other then. That would have been a disastrous outcome. But Cairoli now gets to drive down and fires himself into the lead, and the crowd respond as Cairoli takes the lead on lap 10. Stephen Saw, you can see on some parts of the racetrack, over that long sweeping corner at turn 13 in about a third of a lap's time. What we were talking about a moment ago, how the sun comes out and the ground and light and dark in patches and almost praline-like, you know, the bumps are disguised over that part of the circuit.
Yeah, you're right, and it seems just back to them two battling away there. It seems Tony gets more drive. He looks for the darker stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said, the light part of the track is the slippy part, and Tony just seems to be coming either side of this. And it shows, and he got himself into the lead, and
looking like pulling the pin now.
Exactly, I think there's only one thing.
But watch as they follow the camera around here. We know how bumpy it is through there, but it just, you're losing some of that definition with the sun, that, you know, when it starts to come out brighter. It was the same as they went down past pit lane on Thursday when we were here, and the second moto is going to be interesting if the sun's out, because that sits behind the pit lane area, so half the straight is in the dark, half is in the light, and you couldn't see some of those braking bumps. And there were like one or two guys coming in thinking it was flat and then just getting the big, wicked kick.
Yeah, I think it's only going to get bumpier and choppier. I didn't see the beginning of it, but Geordie Tixey's crash going down into the pit box, I'm not sure whether they showed that.
No, we didn't see it.
But I think that was a case of, you know, hitting one of those bumps on the pit straight and shot him out the front.
Tony Cairoli set the fastest lap, not surprisingly, that time around, a 1:58.0 compared to the 2:01 of Clement de Salle, who's already 2.7 seconds down in the space of about a half a lap. So with 12:45 on the clock plus 2 laps, Tony Cairoli in perfect position to wrap up the 7th world title with a potential race win, but pushing hard as he set that lap then, because that's coming out of the final corner. See the kind of mistakes even a World Championship leader can make, and the potential 7-time world champ as well. Roulants and Teno Leon fighting over 10th place. Teno Leon, number 40 on the right-hand side on the Ritchie Racing TM. Looking to get on the brakes early, carve up the inside, and maybe look to do the same again here. The final turn gets very choppy through here, doesn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, it's really choppy. Like you said, with it drying up, the sun's out, and you know, they're starting to use more of the track as well now. I think this morning it was a little bit one-lining from what a couple of the riders said to me because of the rain, but they're really starting to use the whole track from one side to the other. So
yeah, when it starts raining, it becomes a very definitive one line, doesn't it? One dry line, everything else just starts to build up, get wet. But as you rightly say, you know, that starts to change now.
Yep.
Roulants has had a bit of an inconsistent year so far on that Monster Energy Yamaha. He's down in 12th, missed the Italian round at Arco di Trento as Teno Leon drops the TM right over the top of the Yamaha and slots himself neatly into 10th place. But Roulants knocks himself out in Italy, missed the round in Sweden as well. And down in 12th place in a championship in his first season in MX1. Tommy Searle, where's he now? He's 4 seconds down on Ken de Dijker, napping about the same time. So 6 at the moment is about as good as going to get in moto number 1 for Tommy Searle. I was with Adam Wheeler from OnTrackOffRoad.com yesterday, and I said, you know, what kind of, you know, the weight of expectation and all the rest of it, Tommy Searle. He actually made a valid point. There probably isn't any this year for Tommy Searle, even though he won last year, because he's not really done anything in terms of, he hasn't come close to winning a race. You know, he's not been on the podium yet, so they're not expecting those kind of big things. I guess they just want 100% from him.
Yeah, I think you're always going to get that from Tommy. I think that's in his nature. But knowing him like I do, and knowing a British rider, if he was going to get a podium this year, he wants to get it here, that's for sure.
I wonder if Van Horbek's been off again, you know, because he's in 13th and obviously circulating here, as we can see.
Yeah.
He was on the charge after picking himself up off the deck at turn 1. And Guido there just packing the bags and getting ready to go back. Doesn't look good for Jeremy Van Horbek. Finished 3rd in the MX2 World Championship last year. Is there another moment? Not sure who is gesticulating out there. Difficult to say.
One.
But obviously not happy, the Belgian. This guy is, though. Kevin Strybos. Still in third place, 11 seconds off the lead at the moment. Tommy Searle all over the back of Ken de Dijker. So the crowd responding. Thought I thought it was going to be as good as it got then. Tommy Searle, 6th place, but he's obviously put in a decent lap last time around, or, well, 3 seconds quicker. As the boys look on at the CLS garage. Just lost a little bit of ground there, though, in those last couple of corners and through the waves. Tommy Searle, but looking at knocking on the door for 5th position, going after the Red Bull KTM of Ken de Dijker, the big Belgian, on that number 9 machine. It's like a little bit of front-end problem might be the after effects of that crash. Look, could have stayed out there. He was riding through it in 13th position, so whether he's had another knock or whatever, difficult to say, but Stephen saw Tommy Searle really starting to apply the pressure now in the last 10 minutes of this race on Ken de Dijker.
Yeah, no, I think Tommy's fit. He's not going to fade. He's going to want to get into that top 5, and I hope he does, because I said he was going to get up to 5th. So that would be nice. And I think, you know, from where he was going around turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, 5th place is quite respectable.
Especially in this field. It's not a... had a stab there, didn't he? Thought about trying to square off the back of de Dijker, Tommy Searle, but wasn't able to get it down. There's... How's your Flemish?
I think he wants some pasta before the second race.
Is that what it is? Tommy Searle then. There's the 2B Yamaha of Milko Podosek. He's been on a monster in his Yamaha the last few races, in for Stephen Frossard, but unable to take that ride this weekend. So back on the 2B machine, he's in 13th now, inheriting that position originally occupied by Jeremy Van Horrelbeek. But Tony Cairoli, with 7.5 minutes to go, is in control with a 7-second advantage over de Sal. It's all about the numbers. 7 minutes to go, 7-second gap. Tony Cairoli going for a 7th world title here at Matchley Basin. Clement de Sal, you feel, maybe just backed off now, knowing that he can't do anything about it, even if he challenges him and they have a proper ding-dong shootout, a proper scrap. Stephen Sword, he knew that if he was to win Moto number 1, Clement de Sal, Cairoli could still drop down to 11th. But I guess, you know, you could get a bit of elbow action going on. He goes down, he finds it difficult to rejoin the race or whatever. It takes it to the second moto, doesn't it? And then it's a whole different scenario, but that's not been the case.
No, I mean, as far as the Grand Prix win goes, it's still on for Clement. So, you know, he can always go for the overall. But like you said, do you get involved in a big scrap and try and put the pressure on Tony to crash? Or I think what's happened here is, I think, you know, Tony's clearly a few seconds a lap quicker than Clement. And
Roulance has gone down. That's big as well. Is that over on the far side over the double? Turn 12, I think it is, coming into that turn 13. So he's obviously got it wrong somehow. A lot of riders having problems there over the course of the weekend. So that's that long off camber. He's going down again. No, just manages to keep him upright. But not sure if we have a replay of that. Sorry to interrupt. We'll come back to that in a moment. But Kevin Strybos, though, having a good ride. Nice distance behind his teammate. But another good podium moto finish for Strybos. Just under 6 minutes, plus 2 laps to go, and this race really starting to take shape now. Tony Cairoli, 8.9 seconds clear of Clement de Sal, and Kevin Strybos here, number 22, jumping into that turn, the yellow Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MX1 rider. So it's Italian from a Belgian in second and third. Evgeny Bobashev, about 15 seconds down on these guys on the Honda World Motocross machine here, number 777. So the big Russian starting to come into a bit of form in the closing stages of this season after a season where he's been plagued with a leg injury. Broke a bone in the foot or the leg earlier on in the year, and he's just been struggling to train and ride and test and just compete on the level with everybody else. But certainly starting to throw it together now as Bobashev. He's pulled himself up to 9th in the championship. He's been on the podium the last 2 Grand Prix in the Czech Republic and Belgium, with 3rd both times out, which means that in terms of his moto scores. A 5th and a 3rd and a 4th and a 3rd have been enough to do that for him. Joel Roulance comes in for some running repairs and goes back out. He drops down to 15th place. Probably lost a couple more positions as well whilst coming in to make that alteration. This is where he crashed. Gauthier Paulin, though, see how much of a stretch it is to get over that double, which 65s were getting over that yesterday in dry conditions, so it's obviously quite choppy and rutty through there now. Steve, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think the right-hander before, coming up from the hill, from the wave section, it's choppy. It saps the power out of the bike. It's not heavy dirt, heavy mud, but it's certainly, you know, gets the back end swapping around, so they lose a bit of drive, and I think that's why they're stretching over some of the jumps here.
Gauthier Paulin having the same problem that many riders have had, trying to kick the dirt from underneath the foot peg as they go down deep into those turns. Nothing worse as you come out of a turn, you go to put your foot peg up, and foot peg up, your foot on the peg, and the peg sat there at 45 degrees, and you're right on the pivot point.
Yeah, you can't get your foot on, you can't change gears as well. That's why they're kicking it in the air. Again, look.
Nature of the ground will do that. It's obviously quite heavy, claggy, chalky ground here at Matchley Basin. That's Tano Leot closing in on Gauthier Paulin. So putting in a last-ditch effort on the Richie TM. Sean Simpson, though, still in 8th place. The only reason why I say that is because obviously these two trading rides in terms of the TM berth. Sean Simpson and Tano Leot.
Seems every week they end up together, them two.
Yeah, irrespective of the rides they were on and where they were, yeah, they're always locked together. Almost to prove a point.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what bike we're at, this is our place in the championship.
Exactly.
He's off. The back end lights up coming out of that right-hander. And Tano Leot was pushing a good pace, close right in on Gauthier Paulin, and that TM just spun around on him, threw him down to the deck. And he managed to keep himself going, but sure if he lost a position there or not, but the Estonian is a tough guy. Just needs a lap or so now to regroup. Just watch this. Back end just lighting up, coming out of here, hard and slick. There. And then just bit. We'll have one of them.
It's just
Don't miss them either.
That just explains what we've been talking about with the ground and the way it looks grippy on the TV, and it looks grippy when you stand next to the track, but it's actually to ride, and when you put the power on, I think it's these guys are you know, they're finding some places really slippery. I was in the Fox hospitality and back to Clement de Sal. I think his thoughts of the track and the way he was riding it, he was struggling for traction a lot of the time, and that was one of the things he was saying. It doesn't look like, you know, the grip's not there like it looks like it is. So yeah, that's probably why he's quite happy with second at the minute, although in the back of his mind he'd be wishing he could probably do a little bit more to stop turning.
But I wonder how unique we are in England. Oh, was that Deruva?
That is.
I think that's Deruva just getting it wrong through the wave section, making an appearance, or is it? Yeah, it's Deruva. So Deruva out of 14th place.
Looks like the exhaust. So,
yeah, he's chewed that up. He's going to be coming in. That left silencer bent right up, not going anywhere. Watch again. It's hard ground. Oh. Very lucky there, actually. Again, camera flattens everything out there. That's quite steep off the side of the track there, as we saw from the body language of the bike as well.
It is.
I'm going to say we're not sure if we're quite unique in this country here, that we have tracks of this nature, hard, slick, stony, chalky ground. So when you hear Clement de Sal talking about, yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of grip out there, you know, as much as what it looks like there should be. You know, these are circuits that we've kind of grown up on, you know, the Fox Hills and, you know, even in the north, practice tracks like Gorsway, for instance, you know, the Honda training venue there, and the old place just down the road, Langrish, and of course Ham Lane, all, you know, same types of dirt as this that we can train on.
Yeah, no, I mean, this, for me, these conditions are nice. This would be my, if I was to pick a condition, I don't mind it being slippery in places, but you know, the tacky, rutty, having to pick a few lines, I quite enjoyed these tracks.
Well, Tony Cairoli in charge. He's going to be taking the 2-lap board next time around, and as you just saw then from the graphic, not only going to be taking a potential 7th world title, but 5 in a row in MX1. That'll be a new record all on its own as well.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
You know, Roger De Costa was a 5-time world champion, but it was never in a row. Eric Boers, you know, Stefan Everts as well. You know, I'm not sure there were 5 in a row there, were there, in MX1? Might have been.
Maybe
You have to check the books, but
It's
Oh,
impressive.
no, it wouldn't have been, because MX1 started in 04. So in terms of MX1,
No,
you know.
yeah.
But Commander Sal can't do any more than he's doing. He's there in second place. He knows the championship's gone for another year. Probably won't be the most talkative as he comes over the line to do his post-race interview for that reason alone, because all the applaudits are going to go to this guy, Tony Cairoli. Of course, he's still got just over 2 laps to go, but you know, there'll be the big celebration as they come over the Dragon's Back just alongside pit lane, and I'm sure there'll be a congratulatory handshake. But other than that, you know, he'll just try and focus on moto number 2, Commander Sal. But just goes to show, doesn't it, how important consistency is, Stephen Sword, in terms of a championship. You know, if you get guys like, look at MX2 now without Jeffrey Hurlings, you've got the opportunity to go for a race win or Grand Prix win. Those guys 9 times out of 10 are going to be up and down, a little bit inconsistent. But when you've got guys here, the top 3 guys in the championship, like Cairoli and De Sal and normally Gauthier Paulin, when you look at Paulin and De Sal, the kind of inconsistencies that they were having compared to Cairoli, who was first or second week in, week out, and they were getting 3rd or 4th and the occasional race win or occasional 2nd, and then an 8th or a 9th or a DNF.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's done it for Tony Cairoli.
Exactly, and you know, it's probably a hard one to swallow sometimes for De Sal or Paulin, because you know they're riding so well, and you know they're almost getting enough points, if you like. If you look at their overall points, their podium positions, they're just a bit unfortunate that Tony, you could say the same for Jeffrey, they're just winning all the time. So
yeah.
To win this championship, you almost got to win every race, and that's why he's 7 times world champion. There's his new helmet.
There's the 7 on the side. Boys are getting ready to unveil it. Wonder if he's ever actually seen it yet. Andrea there on the left from Aero, obviously not the owner, but just the service guy in the paddock. But been around the paddock for many, many years in the World Championship. Been a big fan of the job. Obviously got a decent job with Aero as well. Gets to work with the likes of these guys as well. So Tony Cairoli's MX crew. His manager will be in there somewhere, just about there, just right in the left corner of that garage. But Cairoli, just over a lap to go now. Dropping downhill.
This is nice for the British crowd to see, witness his 7th world title here.
That's what I was saying last week in Belgium. You know, we had, we've just lost our transmission briefly, sorry about that. But, you know, when Hurlings was crowned world champion in Lockett, you know, we were thinking, well, can Cairoli do it in Belgium, yes or no? If not, it goes to Britain. And it's not often you get to see a World Championship decided in your home Grand Prix. So I'm just wondering how much of the crowd have come out to see, you know, Tommy Searle or Jake Nichols do well, as Papa Cairoli there on the right, and Harry Everts just donning the T-shirts. But how much of it is to come and see Tony Cairoli? Because we know what it's like over at KTM when they get a world champion. They get everybody out there, everybody's on the podium, the big group photo. And then in the evening, when both races are done and dusted, there'll be the DJ, there'll be the Red Bull party, there'll be a lot of noise and a lot of smoke out there, as there's a lot of burnouts go on inside that awning floor. You know, I think they replace the mat every couple of couple of races in this instance.
I was in my old mechanic, Wayne Banks, mechanics for Geordie Tix here.
Yeah.
And I said, are you staying tonight? He said, there'll be a party in here tonight. That's for
Driving
sure.
home, aren't you?
Yeah.
Family man now.
Yeah.
Parties have all stopped.
That doesn't happen for me.
Tony Cairoli, though, on his final lap here at Matterley Basin, one of his final favourite circuits, already starting to fist pump and salute the crowd. They know what's happening. They're appreciative of his efforts here, as they have been over the previous 6 titles as well. He burst onto the scene in 03, 04, but he was able to pick up MX2 title #1 in 05. He followed that up in 07 after losing it to Christophe Pourcel in 06. But since his move to MX1 in 2009, he's been pretty much dominant and almost invincible. And this is going to be world title #5 in MX1, a 7th career title. And it doesn't seem like 5 minutes ago we were talking about Stefan Everts and the milestones that he was reaching, surpassing the likes of Joel Robert and Roger De Costa as a 5-time world champion, and Joel Smerts, and of course Joel Robert, who was a 6-time world champion, and then making history himself by becoming a 7-time world champion, and then taking it to new levels as a 10-time world champion when he hung up the helmet in 2006. But Tony Cairoli already starting to press play on the GoPro now. He's getting ready. He knows what's happening. The checkered flag awaits. Tony Cairoli is world champion for a 7th time. And this is where the party will start now. He's already celebrating. The crew are going to be there in pit lane. They'll be allowed to jump over their fence here. And the photographers, the journalists, here he goes. It's pandemonium down there. They've got the silly hats on as well. And Tony Cairoli is victorious in Moto #1 and a world champion once again. And the numbered Mohicans, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Roman gladiatorial almost helmet design there. And everybody in there that you would expect to be. All of the journalists, all the team, the crew, the posse, the sponsors. We saw the new helmet being unveiled as DeSalle just rides by. Look, he wants to go in and celebrate. Well, shake his hand, I would say. Jill Cox, she's happy now. She'll probably get a new handbag out of it. No offense, Jill, I'm only joking. Pair of shoes instead. Only joking. But Tony Cairoli, though, and Claudio De Carli, who's been with him every step of the way, just shaking hands, the drone cam flying above, just to give you some idea as to what it's like down there, right in the heart of it. And there is a new aero helmet about to be given to him as well. Look. There we go. Ah, Papa Cairoli there, look.
If you notice, the T-shirts have got 8, 9 and 10. He's obviously gone for 10 world titles.
Yeah, that's the target.
Yeah.
So Tony Cairoli, congratulated by his teammate Ken de Dijker. It's going to be party time tonight here at Matterley. Stephen Sword, Tony Cairoli, champion for a 7th time, a 5th straight title in MX1. A great day, great occasion. Of course, David Philippart's a former world champion in 2008, good friend of his as well. They've had their battles on the track, but good friends now, of course. It's obviously difficult to explain from our side, you know, what that feels like, but the kid is just going from strength to strength, isn't he? He's 26, 27 years old, something like that. Doesn't seem to be slowing down any.
No. There's a job for the mechanic in a minute.
He'll be on the spare bike in the 2nd race then. Full of craziness still. That bike's going to go bang. I hope they have got the 2nd bike ready, the spare bike. You might need it.
But it's just incredible, really. You know, it's yeah, 7 world titles. It doesn't happen to many people, and I'm sure he's going to go on to win a few more. His target's obviously going to be 10.
Well, KTM have signed him until 2016, haven't they? So that's you know, between now and then, that's a world title every year to equal Stefan Everts.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't know if you equal Stefan Everts, then he's obviously going to want to try and beat him as well. So,
well, Tony Cairoli, world champion for a 7th time. This is how he did it in 2013. Got off to a decent start in Qatar with a 3rd and a 1st, but it was double motos along the way in Thailand and Trentino, Brazil, Sweden, Finland, and he's won the 1st race here to be crowned world champion at Matterley Basin. In terms of overall victories, well, there's been a few of those, 9 in fact, in Thailand, the Netherlands, and Arco de Trento, Brazil, France, Sweden, Latvia, Finland, and Germany. Tony Cairoli, world champion 2013. Of course, he'll go off now and look forward to race 2. Stephen Sword, thanks for joining us up here in the commentary position. Just really quickly before we disappear, what are you up to now?
I'm busy with the Honda Off-Road Centre that we run in Wales, and some other bits and pieces for Honda. So I've fitted into something nicely, although I miss the racing, and you don't get that feeling, that buzz of racing, winning.
Still enjoy riding though?
I enjoy riding, yeah. I haven't done a proper moto probably for a few months now, so it would be arm pump city for a while for me.
Well, Clement DeSalle picked up the Get Athena Whole Shot Award. Gerardo Ratzenbeck, the Athena general manager, on hand to present the check to him, but this is how he did it. It was maybe about a bike length in it between him and Cairoli, just slightly more, as they went past the GoPro. No doubt about it, though, it was DeSalle. He led the race for a number of laps after that as well, but Cairoli eventually went through to win the moto in fine style, and with it, world title number 7. So all good at Honda then. Obviously still working alongside Dave Thorpe then at the build base squad. As we look at the classification, Cairoli to Sal, we'll let you read from there. Stephen?
Yes,
Honda.
no, I'm busy, and obviously Dave's busy with the motocross team and bits and pieces with the dealers and working with Honda UK. I do my part with the off-road centre, and it's good. It's good fun. I'm still around people that I enjoy working with, and yeah, it would be difficult for me to just go away from all of this. And as you know, it's in you, and you want to continue and ride bikes, and I get to do that. So at the moment, it's fine. It's good.
Celebratory whip from Tony Cairoli as he comes home to win Moto #1 here at Matterley Basin. And of course, with it, world title #7.
Tony Cairoli, you've just added a 7th world title to your list of achievements. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. You know, win the title and win also my race was my goal. I know I like this track a lot, and I've been riding quite well the last 2 days, so I think I deserve this victory in the first race. Now we're gonna celebrate, and we'll see if second race I'm not too drunk for race, or hopefully.
Like
You're looking good. Are you going to come down to the start line in that?
Yeah, I can come like this now. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
We'll look forward to it.
Thank you.
What's the balloon hanging off his arm? Oh, the big #1. Yeah, Tony Cairoli, world champion. He's got the world champion jersey on as well. He'll be looking forward to Moto #2. I'm sure he'll afford himself half a glass of champagne, just like he did in Italy last year. But job done. Papa Cairoli there, just to the right there. And you're right, Stephen saw the target, 8, 9, 10 there in his sights. Interesting to see what happens in Moto #2, though. Pressure is off. Will he go out and try and take Moto #2 victory? Nice when you can pull a good old whip like that, isn't it? Take the world title with it.
I'm sure he's going to go for the win again. Double win, overall, more bonus money. Probably doesn't need it, but it's an extra bit of pocket money for that handbag, he said.
Well, fabulous scenes here at Matterley Basin as Tony Cairoli wraps up title #7 with a victory in Moto #1. Be interesting to see how he comes out in Moto #2. Doesn't matter though, he's world champion 2013. That's the championship decided, so Commander Sal can do no more. Can go out and win second race though, and win the overall Grand Prix, and be some consolation. A little bit of Suzuki bonus in the back pocket as he leaves here, but it's not all about the money sometimes, is it? It's about achieving, it's about the titles. And that's one thing Commander Sal would still love to do, win at least one world title. Well, he's going to have to wait till next year now for that to happen. Guys out on track are the European 250 guys. They're on their sighting lap now. Waits a long time to get these guys back out on track, but didn't ride yesterday. Manufacturers look like this. KTM all but clinching that, I think. Suzuki second, Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, TM. In fact, 75 points left on the table. I think that's a done deal. We'll be back in a moment with European 250 race.